White Kuchwairip, Lennard Supernault Ren Swex, the Schwebmech Jean, the Schwebme Ulich. Hello everybody, my name is Lennard Supernault. Born and raised in Williams Lake First Nations now, used to be Williams Lake Indian Band, also known as Sugarcane. I'm 45 years old. I'm coming up on 7 years sobriety. Hardest thing I had to go through in my life that pushed me along the lines of my healing journey was in 2008. I lost my older brother, Gerald Supernault. He was murdered in our community. And that had, for the first time in my life, I had literally been a rock to my core. I was walking the fine line, whether I wanted to live or whether I wanted to die. I didn't care. That was the first time in my life that I was walking and I didn't care what happened to me. If I got to live, okay. If I died, so be it. I just didn't care. I had never been in that place in my life up till then. Such sadness and sorrow and depression. And I was drinking at the time, and then after this happened, I drank a lot more. I was drinking every day. Anytime I could get my hands on something to drink, alcohol or drugs, I would ingest it, and just to turn my brain off, to black out and to go somewhere else so I didn't have to consistently walk around with this pain. And I remember sitting around, it was good 6, 7, or 8 months. I was basically locked away in my friend's house, and all we did was drink and smoke weed and do drugs and play video games, and it started to get really repetitive. It was the same thing every day: drink, get high, come to, and be looking around in the same place. And it was that time that it was almost like a light went off in my head, and I could almost hear my brother's voice. And I thought to myself, would my brother be proud of who I am today and what I'm doing? And it was like I could hear that question in my head. It was like my brother was talking to me. And I told myself no. My brother would not be proud of who I am today by walking this line of choosing drugs and alcohol and just existing over healing and living an actual life. I wasn't living at the time, I was just existing. And this was probably spring or late winter of 2009 when I finally started to come around out of that hurt and that pain of losing my brother. And I finally decided, okay, I'm going to pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep moving forward. And it's been a long, hard journey. That was in 2008. We're in 2021 now. But I eventually found my power, found my inner strength to become who I am today, to be able to sit here today and to say that I'm proud of myself and proud of who I am and the things that I've done. I've been able to reach sobriety. What year? Got to do math. Math's my bad subject. Anyway, I've been sober 6.5 years. September 14th, 2007 was the last time I drank. Had a drop of alcohol in my body. And it hasn't been easy, that's for sure. There's a lot of days where I get angry and I get frustrated, and some days where I cry and I just think, why am I even sober? Because I have to go through all this pain, and I didn't have to go through this pain or acknowledge this pain when I was drinking, but to understand that that's exactly why I drank and did drugs, was to avoid that pain and all that hurt and things from my past that I needed to deal with. I was avoiding it. And now I'm not using drugs or alcohol to deny who I am or the things that happened to me in my past. I've found my strength to face it, and that seems to be the best weapon to fight against the drugs and alcohol and the wasting of a life through just partying and drinking all the time. So I'm very proud of that today, to say that I'm coming up on 7 years sobriety. It's a huge step. What am I going to do to change my life to make it better? And I decided at that point that I wanted to get into powwow, singing and dancing. I had some friends that were involved in it, and I had been around it all my life, but I'd never sung or danced. And I told my dad that I wanted to start dancing, men's fancy. So he had some family friends that were involved in the powwow circuit, and we asked one of the family's sons to come over and teach me how to some footwork and some steps, and to talk about the dances. And he came over for about a little more than a month, just about every day for a month, and worked with me. And then after that, he said, "You're on your own. From here, the rest is your journey to learn and as you go." So I started practicing dancing when I was 18. And I got my first regalia by the time I was 20 or 21, I believe. But dancing and that culture, the powwow is an adopted ceremony for us. It's not one of our traditional Shuswap style dances. It's more of a southern style from the southern states of United States of America, U.S. But it's been adopted by several tribes over the years, and a lot of places have powwows you can go to and celebrate and dance. And I used the powwow to make my life better, to turn my back on the crime and the bad things that I was doing in my life when I was younger. So I still dance today. I'm 45, I'll be 46 this summer. And I've been dancing since I was 18. And when things are going wrong in my life, whenever I'm low, or whenever I feel like I'm stuck somewhere in my life, it's always the singing and the dancing that helps get me motivated to get my life back on track. So I would say that powwow dancing and powwow singing, not just powwow singing, but there's a lot of cultural and traditional songs that we use to sing. I find that when I'm at my lowest, I use singing is always the one thing that brings me back. If I'm in a daze and confused and I've got 1,000 different things going on in my mind and I can't focus, it's always centering myself, the breathing techniques I use that I've learned over the years to ground myself. And I'll start with a small hum in my throat, and then a song will come to my mind, and then I can let it out. And as I'm singing and letting that out, it's like all the stress and everything that's going on in my life seems to get filtered through that, and I can focus on the things that I can control and not worry about the things that I can't control in my life. And as I sing, it's just like letting that go. For me, that's what it is. And I would probably say that's my number one tool I use to get me through life is singing. And then dancing, of course, the feeling of being free and being my happy place. That's the one place I can go in this world and shut everything off in the outside world. I don't have to worry about my bills or social life or a relationship, any of that stuff when I'm on the dance floor. It's just me and the drum and the singers and my connection to the spirits. And it feels like I'm floating, like I'm flying, and that's how I feel. I love it. Other things that I use, such as sage, when I don't smudge every day. I use it when I need it. I use sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and sometimes if I'm somewhere and I can't find anything, I'll just grab a handful of dirt from the ground. That's our Mother Earth. We can hold it in our hand, and I can feel that power and that connection that I have with the earth and also with the spirits and our ancestors, and that seems to ground me as well. Or I'll hold a rock in my hand. I use that medicine to refocus and to center myself, and I pray and I cry, and sometimes I laugh, or even when I'm really angry, I can just squeeze it as hard as I can. And then when I'm done the process, I can just lay it back down and be grateful for the lesson that I'm being taught, whatever I have to go through.